all like to think that dreams can come true, but what about our nightmares? Can they come true too? Cherie Jacobson's did. Hard Copy's Peggy Callahan says the teenager dreamed of her own death 1 week before she was murdered.
Cherie Jacobson was a preacher's kid, an only child. She was following her father in the faith when she traveled to Stockton, California last month to visit church friends, register for college, and to try to convert gang members. Last week, Cherie's parents came to take their only child home to Canada. Cherie was shot to death after a prayer meeting at the Christian Life Center in Stockton.
I understand the night earlier before she was murdered that she had invited some young people to the service and that they were gang members. They had come to service earlier in the evening, and it was her desire to reach young people for the Lord and for them to have the same kind of experience with God that she had, that was real and powerful.
Just before she was struck and fell to the ground, she turned her head to the left as if she had heard a noise or somebody had said something.
Police have no clues, no motive, and no suspects in the case. Cherie herself seemed to have the only clue. She dreamed about her death a week before she was killed.
In the dream, she went before an executioner, and the Lord spoke to her and said, your death is going to cause a great positive reaction in the kingdom of God.
She'd been preparing, seemed to be preparing herself. The Lord was preparing her to take her home. And our greatest consolation is that she was ready to meet God.
Maybe it's shock or disbelief or their incredible faith in God that allows the Jacobsons to find some good in their unimaginable loss.
Even though our hearts are grieving at the loss of our daughter, in God we trust. We're not here today in a celebration of sorrow. We are here for a celebration of praise. And while we worship God on blue carpet that's wearing out because of so many that have shouted on it, she is shouting today on streets of gold.
Faith is getting Cherie's family through this ordeal. But as her family mourned her death, some wondered how it was she came to have such a horrible forewarning. Was her dream a message from God, or is this parapsychology phenomenon a documented case of a psychic experience?
Cherie Jacobson believed that she foresaw her own death 1 week before she was killed. But many of us dream of life-threatening situations. What does it mean? How seriously should we take them? Here to answer this question is Loyd Auerbach. He's an expert in the paranormal. Professor Auerbach, should dreams about our own deaths be considered as warnings, or should we ignore them altogether?
Should never ignore dreams about death or anything else in our lives. If it's a dream that came through strong enough for us to really remember it, it's got a message, whether it is a message about the future or a message about our own inner psychology. People dream about death frequently, but the strong dreams about death or illness or whatever are the ones that often do come true. You just have to pay attention to how close it resembles reality and go with that.
Now, once someone has a premonition about his or her death, what can that person do to prevent it from happening again?
You have to look at the content of the dream. If there's not enough information to get out of the way of the bullet you think is going to be flying at you, you may not be able to do anything about it. But in many of these dream circumstances, people have a strong enough feeling that they recognize the event as it's about to happen, and they can get out of the way of that moving car or whatever. That does happen, and there are a number of situations that are actually recorded to that effect.
Now, you mentioned in your answer strong enough feeling. How strong a feeling should a premonition be before someone decides to act on it?
That's a tough question. That's like saying, how happy do you have to be before you act on something that's nice? People have psychic experiences all the time, and you tell those from different experiences by actually feeling that this is different from my normal experience. And it's a very personal thing. If you remember the dream that strongly, then it's something to pay attention to, but not enough that you get yourself paranoid thinking that your death is coming, and you place yourself in a potentially dangerous situation because you're not paying attention to the real situation around you.
So that's a key word. Don't get yourself paranoid.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Auerbach.
you.
We'll be right back.